The April 1st meeting of the Conservation Commission will stand and salute the flag, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I may quickly, we have kind of a shortened agenda, as I mentioned to you before we got here. So the Thomas Hannon meeting scheduled first on our agenda is requested to be continued by the representative to 4/29.
Okay.
So we need a motion for that.
So we have Thomas Hannon, notice of intent, 143 Cherry Web Lane, SC 82788, construct accessory dwelling unit over garage and septic upgrade in the riverfront. Need to continue that to 4/29. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. How about the assemblies? They're continuing too, correct? I'll just get that out of there.
Mr. Chairman, yes, the assemblies I've also requested to be continued to 4/29.
All right, general assembly notice of intent, Zero River Road, construct single-family dwelling with driveway grading and other improvements in the buffer zone and bordering vegetated wetland. Need a motion to continue to 4/29.
Motion to continue.
Thank you.
You may want to specify the year on that one.
Do you have a second? Do you have a second? Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? That's unanimously on. Next, we have Town of Westport Highway Department, notice of intent, Division Road, replace existing failed culvert, cut and patch the pavement. Good evening, Mr. Leach.
Good evening, Green Carson.
Yeah.
Good evening, Sean Leach, North Engineer for the Town of Westport Highway Department for replacement culvert on Division Road. This culvert is located approximately 1.5 miles south of Slade's Corner Road or 2.5 miles south of Hicks Bridge Road on a really bad curve. You go down Division Road, it's a really bad S-curve. There's wetlands on either side. There's currently an 18-inch metal culvert that has been damaged and it's collapsing, and the road is kind of caving in. If you go down there, you'll see there's a big skull up in this pavement right here. All we're doing is replacing the one 18-inch with a two 18-inch culvert in the same location, of course, patching and paving the roadway with standard silt fencing around the work area so it can be done. Shouldn't take very long, should take about half a day, hopefully, depending on what's underneath the road. We're not quite sure. But it's an equalization culvert. There's basically significant wetland on either side of this particular culvert, and there's some water in there now for obvious reasons, but it's a pretty simple project. I don't think there's anything complicated about it.
Thank you, Sean. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Would you like mine, Chris?
Thanks, Sean.
We will be going, we do have a file number, and we will be going to Dartmouth Conservation meeting next Wednesday, the 8th. So we'll be going there next week.
Why don't you just
Ruined it for me.
why don't you just cut our half of the road and put our culvert in and leave that half collapse?
It's pretty complicated because, there's people on each side of the road. I mean, it's wetlands, so we have to file with both towns.
I was only kidding. Go ahead, Chris.
Just for the record, this is a road that we do share, Mr. Chairman, but if you notice where the town line is, it's actually on the opposing side, on the west side of the road. So we share this road, and I believe this is one the town maintains and plowing, right?
Yeah, the town maintains everything south of Old County.
So the road is all on their property?
No, it's
All
actually,
Dartmouth.
the town line is the center of the road, always sort of was when it was established in 1799.
Yep.
Wherever the road was at that particular time. But there are stone bounds going all the way up the road, so we just split it 20 feet on each side.
All right, Mr. Chairman and members, this is the town of Westport, and I also include the town of Dartmouth, Division Road. This is a notice of intent application filed by Northeast Engineers and Consultants with Sean Leach representing. The date of the report is March 28th, 2025. There is a file number with no adverse comments. It's SE 802791. Again, agencies to be contacted would also be the town of Dartmouth. Site visit was on March 27th, 2025. I did give some more detailed photos of the location and its condition. The town has filed to repair the undermined road and replace the existing 18-inch corrugated metal pipe culvert with two 18-inch HDPE pipes. The road has become undermined from water flowing over the top of the road during heavy rain events. The activity would be within the edge of the existing wetland on the Westport side of the project. The flow is associated with an intermittent stream that conveys water from one BVW to the other in Dartmouth. The work is being completed after the town of Dartmouth Conservation accepts the proposed design. Measures should be taken to complete the project during summer when the stream is dry. Minor impacts will occur during the repair to the existing BVW edges. Erosion control shall be installed and remain until all areas are stabilized. The repair can't meet stream crossing standards, in my opinion. I also don't think it applies, but without rebuilding and raising the entire roadway. So we have very limited cover right now. This road coverage is, to allow for a box culvert, would require the road to be dismantled and raised considerably. So right now, these two 18-inch pipes are only gonna have 1.5 feet of coverage over the top of them. So any more repair to that beyond those limits would cause, much more expense to the community. So Sean has discussed this with Dartmouth, as he briefly mentioned. I think they were leaning towards drainage calculations, but Mark Garrett, the agent in Dartmouth, was in agreement that stream crossing standards he did not believe were applicable as well. So we're kind of working in the same idea. So this, I'm stating about 50 square feet of BVW will be altered during the erection of this pipe and stockpiling materials. Some temporary in nature, not all entirely to be altered. Recommendations: the Westport Conservation should approve the two 18-inch HDPE pipes for road repair, contingent on the Dartmouth Conservation's acceptance and special conditions of approval. Work should be done during the dry season. I believe that stone riprap aprons you should include here, Sean, with heavy stone, 6 to 10-inch stone, should be placed in the inlet and the outlets, and erosion control should remain until all areas are stabilized.
Okay, that's fine.
Any questions? If not, a motion?
I mean, is that gonna be rugged enough for like a, a dump truck to go over without it just crushing it again?
It's got 2 feet of culvert, and it only requires 1 foot for the HDPE heavy pipe, corrugated pipe, so it has enough cover.
Yeah,
It shouldn't be a problem.
can
And
take the load.
I don't know what's underneath there now. I tried to take a look at it. It looks like somebody put a metal pipe and then tried to put stone and concrete head walls on the end or something. I'm not sure what was
Maybe you
going
can put
on.
a bascule bridge there.
Yeah. It was tough when all the salmon were going through there to figure out what was going on.
The town, in its repair days, were famous for sleeving something into an old pipe. Whether it corrugated, they tried to stove something as far as they could. Because of that corrugated area rots out and it causes undermining. So a lot of these, it looks like it's an CMP,
Yeah.
and then you pull it out and it's an old stone culvert that's been sliced through.
Yeah.
So
So there's no fish passage to speak
this
of?
absolutely not.
it's
This is
a-
an equalizer relative to one side flooding, conveying across.
Well, you're replacing one 18-inch pipe with two 18-inch pipes.
Correct. Yes, we're trying to increase it.
Better.
Yes, because we do have that overtopping that's occurring. Not only because the culverts failed, but I think that this needs a little more a relief and allowance for resiliency, and seeing that we do see increased rain events, this will be helpful.
All right, we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
That's unanimous. It should be caused by ocean, see otherwise. Okay. That concludes the hearing portion for the evening. We have bills and minutes here. We have Chris, ooh, jeez.
Told you, it's windy.
About a mile.
February, March,
Wait.
it's 3 months, man.
What's that Mohegan Sun?
Mohegan Sun is, that is Mohegan Lane.
Killington, Vermont?
Mohegan Lane, Vermont.
All right, we have Chris Capone mileage, which is very detailed, for every home of every address he's visited,
Wow. It is deep.
at the federal rate of 70 cents a mile. The total is $563.50. I need a motion to approve to pay Mr. Capone for the last 2 months' worth of mileage.
Motion to approve mileage.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next, we have East Bay Media, $61.50, which is for advertising. for, I believe, the hearing tonight. We have a motion to pay?
Motion to pay.
Your second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, that's approved. We have March 4th minutes. And that's not gonna happen. 9/17 minutes, and let's see, no, I forget this one. Okay, so we can't approve any minutes because we're missing some people, some key people. So that's it for my part of the evening's events. Chris, do you have anything for us?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Val, I wouldn't spend too much time fixing the camera. Well, if no one has anything else I'd like to discuss, I'd like to, do you have anything you want to say, Mr. McGuire?
No, I'm all set this evening. Thank
Okay.
you.
Any
Chair.
plumbers around?
Actually, they are back.
Yes,
They have made an appearance the end of last week. The state has already, I guess, finished most of their work on the beach. They've done a good job. It's just a matter of whether there'll be a storm there. But they do have it all roped off, but not the main portion of the beach. So hopefully they're getting them to nest in areas.
They're not already erecting the things up yet, are they?
Yes, along the entire access road and
To
along.
DCR they are?
They were out there last week.
Why did they do that now before they were actually even,
They just, that's what they do.
because the plumbers aren't aware of the fencing, in other words, so
But
why
they
don't
do.
you wait till they establish and then you,
They put a sign up, plumbers nest
Yeah, they can
here.
read
Yeah,
it,
I
know where to
know.
nest.
Hawks, stay away.
that just,
So they arbitrarily put the fence up, not really knowing where the birds are
They
nesting.
normally, the entire access road now, both sides are basically roped off. Then the access at the end of Bridge Road to the beach, both sides of that are not roped off, but they do the majority of the dunes. And then I guess they're gonna wait and see what happens on the main beach. Because I think, my understanding is that there was a little bit of pushback with how much they roped off last year of the main beach. Like, you'd go down there and is no place to sit on horse neck, so.
and also for the record, the state went mandatory, no dogs. So any DCR property, you cannot have dogs during these months, the summer months.
Statewide?
Statewide.
They were always, I mean,
Yes.
the state was always pretty
Yeah,
cognizant of
no,
that.
but they're very, I mean, last year I think they had a blinking sign and stuff like that, but now they just passed it, it's, I think, in their rules now.
But the problem you're gonna have is that everyone goes down to the
Well,
town.
we're having
beach
a
and dog.
discussion with the Audubon, we're doing this beach management plans, and one of the biggest pet peeves of the Audubon is the activities on Cherry Web early in the morning, which is unleashed dogs. So, yes, I think you're gonna see something come to us having to enforce this. With this management plans we're trying to establish, how we ticket and enforce it, it may be, but again, there already is a
Because they
rule
were-
that they're supposed to be leashed
How
on
do you ticket
record.
the dog? Do you have to have their ID? Do you get a driver's license?
I'm not sure how they ticket you with respect to that. It's a good question, but I
Well-
know they take the dog's
They don't have a push
information.
thumbs that drive the steering wheel, but maybe they can use like a poor adaptive type setup, like a.
Oh, adaptive. The environmental police were tough last year in the state, though. They were going after
Yes, I'd
people
like to
last
see
year,
them come over to, just during the months where it's crucial, because a lot of people, I understand exercising your animals, but there's also
so, yeah.
the.
I mean, at the end of the day, if they were all leashed, it probably wouldn't be a horrible situation.
No.
Are
Probably-
the dogs allowed with a leash on the beach?
No,
Not on horseneck. On the town, you need leashes.
yeah.
They're
But if you
required to
had-
be leashed. But now horseneck says no dogs.
I always have a leash on my dog. I don't go down too often though. It's too much sand down the beach.
Well, everyone has the leash, but it's in their hand because they let the
Not
dog.
attached to the dog.
They let the dog have his
Have they
freedom.
ever, assessed whether, like, does an unleashed or leashed dog was more of a threat than like a.
They go by the
mink,
foot.
a
They go by
raccoon,
the
a hawk,
footprints. Well, they
you know.
do go by the footprints, but yes, you're right. The predatory animals at night are probably very significant, and there's been some curtailing of those actions by the state trying to, snipe some of these predatory because
They
it's
put-
monkey see. So this mother's teaching the young, so they're trying to, disrupt that because, as you know, with deer, the same thing. The young ones are following mom, and they're not going far from people's yards. So I think you're seeing that when some predatory animals staying close to where they learned something, they inherit it.
I think just by observing down there, I think the unleashed dogs are the problem because they have a tendency to chase plovers, right, when they're unleashed. As if, it's natural dog's desire
To
go
run,
after.
correct.
Now, I think the biggest issue is when you have fledgling piping plovers
Yes.
running around and they can't fly.
Can't fly yet.
That's
Yeah.
where your problem lies.
But also gestation on the nest, you
Yeah.
disrupt the nest from,
Correct.
and maybe that could be predated at that moment.
Correct.
Doesn't everybody like pretty much attach the plover nest, right? The seagulls and everything.
Everything can, correct.
Crows, especially crows, coyotes. What else? Foxes will.
You see a lot of coyotes down there?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the dunes, it's the highway.
I have a trail cam set up back there, and there was a big one back behind Baker's. Big coyote. Fair amount of fox running through too.
Yeah.
Well, I
The
think that,
town would hire hunters for the dunes.
The state was doing that a few years
yeah,
ago.
that's what I was mentioning, the state
For
did it
coyotes.
at night with a few sharpshooters. I don't know how successful it was.
I'm not entirely sure that's safe, but
They're still having predatory issues. Even last year, they had a lot of.
they're all
predation.
predated. They're almost all predated.
Were they
in the
all
state.
predated? So
But
the only successful nest we have in Westport is Baker's Beach.
and in full disclosure, we use an exclosure, which they don't use.
No, that's true.
What's
I
the
mean-
nest? What does that mean?
I mean, we put a wire fence around the actual nest. There's those within the community that think that that's attracts predators, but if they
It
can't
keeps
get in,
them out.
yeah, it keeps them out. And
But they sit and wait. They
Yeah.
claim that they sit there and wait and go, okay, mom.
So
you're-
imagine if they have a nest with like, with posts and orange tape on it that say coyotes don't come in, they don't go past the tape.
No, yeah.
no, ours is fencing. So
No, I know that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying, but if you don't put a fence
yeah,
up, I mean, what's
yeah.
this,
Exactly.
they're gonna smell them and they're gonna go get them.
Yes, so the state is not doing those types of measures, right?
Yeah.
They're just
Correct.
stringing fencing, which the coyotes
Which
are
is
born
useless.
Yeah.
Or dogs.
Or dogs, yes.
But again, when we only have usually one nest in the parking lot, and jokingly, it's like it's got 24-hour protection down there from us. I mean,
It's easy for you to, but
to
for
monitor it, to
15,
monitor
20
it, yeah.
nests, I
Correct.
think it's a little bit cumbersome
Correct.
to have those enclosures, but I'm sure
Does the town have a monitor?
they have Mass Audubon,
They pay
yes.
The
Who does it
birds
say?
need to get out, to run around and get something to eat. Are you fencing in the birds?
No, they have where they can access it. It's wide enough where they can access it.
Okay.
Get in and out. The state has their own DCR monitors. I don't think they're contracted.
They are
anymore.
through the state, yes.
There's usually about 8 to 10 of them down there.
Good use of funds.
We have Lloyd Center, and then Audubon is at the town. But Jamie, who's our Lloyd Center guy, had worked with a lot of people at the state anyway, so usually.
Yeah, they work hand in hand pretty much together, at least on documenting and following up on success.
How about down at Beach Avenue?
We've had a couple
Into the
attempts of nesting and failed attempts. A couple of the nests were predated or something happened. But usually these blowout times a year too creates habitat that the plovers like. So when we have these overwash, so they may like Beach Ave this year. It's got a little bit of that happening. So it all depends on where they, or rather where she selects her nest after he goes about making 6 to 8 of them.
Yeah,
Do
in
they
our
have
parking
a-
lot, they do a lot of scraping, and you just see all the little scrapes, and then they decide on one of them eventually. For
Yeah.
us, it's within
So
20.
that poor bugger sits there and picks all that sand out to make a depression 8 times, and imagine how many pieces of sand that is.
With no cover at all, right? There's
No,
cover.
no,
just
they-
that's-
it's their
They
camouflage.
have to figure that out.
It's tough to. It really is difficult.
When
to
she
find
sits
the
there,
eggs.
yeah.
Yeah, it
or
is.
she sits
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, they definitely blend in with that salt and pepper look to them.
Do they nest anywhere else along Atlantic Ave or around there on different beaches?
Atlantic Ave is loaded too at Elephant Rock, and westerly of there along Richmond Pond is pretty successful too. They've learned to nest higher up in the area there because a couple of
The
years
tide.
we had very spring tides and they were getting washed out. So that happened, I think, last year or the year before. So seems the plovers are getting closer to the dune line than they were before. That's it.
All right. Good discussion, Chris.
I'm glad we had it. I think it's good for people to be aware of what's going on. Thank you.
What else? That's
Oh,
it?
the only other thing is the amount of burlap that is continuing to wash up on the beach is absolutely appalling.
It is still coming.
Our dumpster is now full of burlap from that dredging. Just so it's on record, it's ridiculous. That was part of the contract.
Any more windmill blades blowing, washing?
No, not yet, but we have a fair enough, enough burlap to do a
To pad.
potato sack race for all.
Well,
the
you can
kids.
use the burlap to pick up the plastic.
Oh, yeah, it's funny.
You make little gloves for everybody.
The burlap keeps coming in.
Yes. I haven't been to Horse Neck to see it there. but
Somebody
I'm sure
told me the
they're
other
all
day,
seeing
they're like,
it.
oh, that's what that was from the dredging? I said, yeah, it was. They're like, oh, we thought a fishing boat took out all that carpet from their like house and just threw it off.
Are they like potato sacks or?
No, so
No,
what
it was-
happened?
It was a roll of burlap
What
that they
happened
were
with
laying
the
in the
dredging?
bottom of the scow
Yeah, every time they dumped the sand, they had to relay burlap.
because it had a opening that was letting the sand not
So every
accumulate.
time they dumped into the ocean in front of Horse Neck, they dumped burlap every single trip. It's been washing up since then.
Where the burlap was in the bottom, they put the sand on top of the burlap?
Yes.
And then dumped it.
Dumped
Yes,
it.
yeah.
But what was the purpose of not, why they had to put burlap in the first place?
They had a leaky scow that didn't have a good joint at the bottom.
Oh, so if they had an appropriate boat, then they wouldn't need the burlap?
Yeah, there was a gap there. Again, I don't think the town was aware of it until it all started washing ashore. But when they saw their loading area, they realized that they had pallets of burlap there.
That wasn't a local scow, was it?
No, I don't think,
Okay.
Louisiana guys, I think, that came up.
So they couldn't put like, cables on one side of it, so when they dumped, it went out, the burlap would just hang and they could pull it back up? No.
I was told from him it was part of a federal contract.
And the state approves that? Feds, they don't care about that?
They don't.
I'm not sure, again, I think it was a last minute thing when they maybe started using it and realizing that it was, obviously going out the bottom seam.
I bet if the water was warmer, maybe it would have, that's all biodegradable, it's all like natural, maybe it would have broken down, but not in the middle of winter.
No.
No, it's kind of balling up in the sand. You don't even know it's there until you kind of
Until
look
it gets
at it.
uncovered by the tide.
Yeah.
And the tide pulls it back out, then it's exposed.
So is
then you gotta try to rip it out. You want to
You
try to
get
rip it
down
out?
in the morning, people complain there's trash on the beach because it's
And
exposed
it's
to
waterlogged
clay.
too, so
So
it is.
try to get it out with
Heavy.
the tractor. It's
Yeah,
it's
it
not
buries
coming out.
itself.
Has
So.
has it helped Horse Neck or the town beach replenish it all?
This sand, I would say, has quickly made it back to the beaches. Has it? I'm not sure. I haven't been to Horse Neck to say, but I was told there's a fair amount of sand. But
It's good. Their issue is between the high tide and entering the ocean. It's still a lot of rock. They did save a fair amount of sand on the beach portion, but getting to that ocean is a problem. I don't know how without breaking an ankle. Yeah, I mean, my guess is it's going to move right back to where it came from. I mean, they only dumped it 750 feet off of Horse Neck.
not far enough, in my opinion.
No, and it just
Especially if we saw burlap at the mouth of the river already. That means that's heavier than the sand.
Yeah, so it's already going back to where it came from.
So,
Have you seen the channel markers that are all off station?
I did not. I haven't been down that.
I came in today, and there's red nuns that are a quarter of a mile off station, like right in the surf, right where you don't want to be.
Really?
If you see, you'll see like channel marker, channel marker, channel marker, channel marker, so you know it's way off.
Along the
But then
beaches?
on the main channel into the river, coming
Okay.
from 2 Mile Rock. But then it's kind of weird, there's a number, green, odd number, 5 from the Coast Guard, big one, and then a small plastic one, 15A, so the numbers aren't even
No
in
match.
sequence. And they're tangled. There are 2 reds that are tangled and 2 greens that are tangled, and they're way off station where they don't even belong.
yeah,
Really
but
weird.
they usually come in this time of year, the Coast Guard, and resets it.
Yeah, but I don't know why the 5 and the 15, they should be, like number 5 is outside the river and 15 is way in. The numbers get higher inside. I don't know where,
Well, I
it's
can't.
weird. It's
you-
odd.
well,
Yeah.
hopefully they figure that out soon.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to come in here, not be familiar with the place. You'd have no idea what you're looking at. The numbers are out of sequence, they're not where they belong.
Where you coming, are you lobster? Get some pots up?
I thought today I brought my friend's lobster boat over with Bruce.
All right,
Yeah.
motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, opposed, that's unanimously on. Thank you, Valerie.